think helicopter pilots make bank, or we're all just living in a van struggling? In this video, we'll break down what you can financially expect to make as a helicopter pilot at a couple different points in your career and figure if this is the right decision for you.
That's like autopilot, dude.
How do you fly a helicopter? Well, I'm going to show you.
As a helicopter pilot, there are three kind of distinct points of your career. There is the entry-level period, then there's the second point in your career where you're really starting to become a helicopter pilot, you're doing a professional job, you're making good money, and then there's the third tier of being a helicopter pilot where you can really boost up your income and make a ton of money. We're going to break all three parts down. The first is your entry-level struggle. Now, this is when you're a flight instructor or you're doing tours. Right after you graduate flight school, this is likely to be your first job. This is the lowest paid part of your career, but it's necessary to build hours. This is how you go from graduating flight school to those big jobs that require all these hours and requirements. There are very long hours for very minimal pay. It is just the bottom rung of the totem pole, the bottom rung of the ladder. It's a tough spot to be, but it's where everyone starts, and it's what you got to do. Some tour positions may pay well, and it can be a career job. Now, I just want to elaborate on this real quickly. Being a tour pilot, I say that this is an entry-level job. It doesn't necessarily have to be. There are some tour pilot positions in very beautiful, exotic locations that you can do that as a career job. The number one place that comes to mind is Hawaii. Some tour pilot positions in Hawaii pay well over $100,000, and this is people's full-time career jobs, and it's a great job. You get to fly a helicopter in a beautiful place, and you can make tons of money in excess of $100,000 with tips. So a tour pilot position can be like a low-level R44 job, or it can be a big career position. Now, second is your mid-career. This is where you are really working. Now, it's taken quite a while to get here. The jobs that really pertain here are EMS or air ambulance, offshore oil rigs, law enforcement, or corporate work. The pay here, pretty large range, anywhere from $80,000 to $130,000 plus. Very wide range depending on what you're doing. Now, I say here, if you're a full-time pilot, this is 2 to 3 years post-graduation of flight school. So this is when you're done with all your ratings. 2 to 3 years out, if you've been working as a pilot, flying a lot as a flight instructor or a commercial pilot, hopefully here you have about 1,500 to 2,000 hours, and this is if you're full-time 2 to 3 years post-graduation. I say here 1,500 to 2,500 hours, opportunities open. People really want you to have beyond 1,000 hours to get into these big positions, and then a lot of them require 2,000, 2,500, definitely for EMS, some law enforcement, some corporate stuff. You can do a little bit lower, but the big thing here about these mid-career level jobs is they've got tough schedules in comparison to the entry level. Under entry level, as a tour pilot or a flight instructor, you have pretty set hours. It's like 9 to 5. You're just working the days, maybe on the weekends too. In the mid-career, all of these have tough schedules, so let's go through it. EMS, typically 7 days on, 7 days off, which is great, but you're working a daytime shift and a nighttime shift. Working at night is hard. Offshore, you're working 14 days on, 14 days off. It's cool, but 14 days on is real hard. Law enforcement, they work kind of weird schedules, a lot of night rotations, and corporate, it's pretty, it's not necessarily always scheduled. It can be like pretty, when the person needs you to go fly their helicopter on their command. So it can kind of be like a weird schedule that way. So in this position as a commercial helicopter pilot, you've got tough schedules. Here, you also have very strong career stability. At this point, if you have 1,500 to 2,500 hours, and maybe some turbine time, some specialized time, you've got a very good chance of like being okay as a helicopter pilot for the remainder of your career. Let's say if you're able to hold your medical, you can pretty much find a job anywhere. So you've got strong career stability. This is a really good position to be, $80,000 to $130,000. And then the third portion of your career that you could jump into if you wanted to, or you could just stay in like the mid-level position. You could move up as a manager, whatever, but you have elite and specialized. Now here I put VIP transport, test pilot, contract work, and overtime. I'll kind of elaborate a little bit on all these. The pay here can range anywhere from $150,000 to $300,000 plus. I'll explain. This happens when you've been in the industry a very long time. This is not going to happen overnight. You're going to have thousands upon thousands of hours, lots of years in the industry, lots of experience to get to the point where you're making this much money doing these really specialized jobs. In all of these, VIP transport, test pilot, contract work, or overtime, you're likely to fly a large multi-engine helicopter. Now, if you're just working overtime, like as an EMS pilot, maybe doing offshore stuff, you could be in a single engine platform. But for the rest of them, you're likely to be in a large multi-engine helicopter, which is awesome. That's a cool thing if that's what you like. This is likely in a crewed environment. Now, this is pros and cons. If you're doing VIP transport at a very elite and specialized level, or you're doing contract work or even test piloting stuff, you're in a crewed environment. Good and bad. It's good to have another pilot there because they make things safer. You've got another person to bounce ideas off of. I like flying with another pilot. It's cool. The other part about being a helicopter pilot is we get to do single pilot stuff. We get to make the decisions. We get to fly the helicopter. We are the executive. We get to make all the decisions. And that part about being a helicopter pilot is awesome. If you don't want to do that, then some of these pay ranges are hard. If you don't want to be in a crewed environment, there is kind of a cap on single pilot pay. It's still very good, but to really get these big numbers, you're going to be in a crewed environment. The other thing I put here that you need to think about is home life is very hard with these elite and specialized positions, if that's applicable to you. If you are single, then it's cool. You don't have to worry about that. You can be on the road a lot. If you've got a family, it's hard. Maybe if your kids are grown up and your spouse is cool with it, then it's okay. But like, let's look at these. VIP transport, you're probably flying a lot or you're going remote places and your time is not yours. You are working for your client. Test pilot, there's a lot of hours, a lot of work. It's not just flying the aircraft. There's a lot of meetings. There's a lot of education. There's a lot of work that goes into being a test pilot. Contract work, same thing. Typically with contract work, you're going somewhere away from home. You're working for an organization, pretty long hitches, pretty long rotations. And obviously with overtime, you're doing a ton of overtime work at your company, making money flying. So it's hard to have a home life when you're making this much money because they are paying you for your time and your skills. I wanted to talk about a caution message here, why some pilots stay broke. This is pretty critical things to think about. If you're going into the industry, you kind of need to know about this. There's a couple ways to stay broke, and then we'll talk about the antidotes. Sticking with a low-paying job for too long. If you're not being paid what you want in comparison to the rest of the industry, like if you have enough hours and qualifications and there's a job that's paying more, you should be either getting raises to be paid what you should be paid, your qualified amount, or you should be moving jobs. Now this part sucks if you have settled your family and you like your career. It's hard, but if you want more money, you may have to be moving jobs or advocating for yourself and getting the pay that you deserve. Another point, poor networking and missing out on better opportunities. Keep your eye out for new positions and talk to other pilots. Other pilots are going to be one of your best resources for finding new jobs. They may bring you on board. They say, hey, we're hiring. Are you looking? And then that could be your new opportunity. So always be talking to pilots. Build your network from flight school. If you work as a flight instructor, at any job you work, just build your network. Keep growing. People on social media, so on and so forth. Not specializing or upskilling in high demand sectors. Take new opportunities that can further employ you. Turbine, multi-engine, crewed, new environments. If you just stay in your one lane and just do one job over and over, if you really like it, that's fine. And if you're compensated well, that's fine. Stay there. But if you want to make more, you're going to have to adapt. So when those positions and opportunities arise, take them. If there's a turbine transition job, take that opportunity. If there's somewhere where you can go learn new skills or get new qualifications, take these opportunities because this is going to keep leveling you up in the industry. So lastly, how to maximize your earnings. Choose high paying sectors. If you want to make more money, it's kind of obvious, but you got to go choose the jobs that pay the most. Go on the helicopter websites, JS Firm, Just Helicopters, and look at the jobs and see how much they're paying. And if you want to make more money, choose the jobs that are paying more. Build a strong network within the industry. This is huge. Your network will get you jobs, and your network will hire you, and your network will keep you going. So build your network. And then the third one is be willing to move. It is going to be extremely hard if you're not willing to move to make more money. There's probably a cap at your position, at your company, on the amount of money you can make. So if you're willing to move, you can make way more. If you can't move, then you might be limited. So there you go, some expectations for what you can get in the helicopter industry. It is great pay, it's a good job. I want to know your thoughts down in the comments below. What is your dream job? Does the salary match the qualifications? Does the salary match what you're going to be doing? I want to hear about it down in the comments below. If you found yourself enjoying this video, smash the like button, subscribe for all kinds of helicopter content, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.